While many still consider rats to be pests, in Thailand, some farmers have turned them into a steady source of income. In particular, in the northeast of Thailand, rat farms are thriving, supplying hundreds of thousands of rats each month to the consumer market. Join us as we break into one of the largest rat farms in Asia, to explore every corner, every process, and the secrets that have never been revealed. Inside the farm, rats are raised in separate, clean, and drained cement tanks. There are more than 4,000 cages, each containing 6 to 12 rats. The total population at the time of our visit was nearly 300,000 rats, not counting the newborn rats born every day. The cost of raising each mouse is around $2, but the selling price is up to $7 to $8 per kg, while breeding mice can be sold for $22 per pair. Just doing a simple calculation shows the attractive profits that the mouse farming industry brings. The mouse farming process at Callison Farm is operated in a closed system, strictly following hygiene and disease control standards. Everything starts with the selection of breeds. Parent mice are carefully selected based on the criteria: healthy, fast-growing, good reproduction and ability to adapt to the captive environment. They are raised in separate cages, called breeding areas, to ensure biosecurity and easy monitoring of the life cycle. After the mother mouse gives birth, the entire litter will be raised with her mother for the first 3 weeks with breast milk. When they reach the age of separation from the herd, the mice are transferred to the fattening area. This is the time when the mice grow fastest. They are fed twice a day with a food mixture including rice bran, ground corn, fish meal, and some herbs to help increase resistance and limit body odor. The water source used is filtered water, treated with UV rays to ensure purity. Each breeding area is equipped with an automatic ventilation system, day-night cycle lighting, and a high-capacity deodorizer to keep the cage environment clean, minimizing bacterial growth. Technical staff check the mice daily, record growth, and promptly handle sick or weak cases. Some culled mice will be separated so as not to affect the general herd. After 6-8 weeks of age, mice will reach a weight of 200-350 grams, meeting the standards for export. Depending on the purpose of use, they are classified into 3 groups: live mice, frozen mice, and experimental mice. Individuals that meet the standards will be transferred to the humane slaughter area, using CO2 gas to anesthetize to avoid pain, then pre-processed, packaged, and refrigerated. The entire process is controlled by a digital management system, from the number of mice, breeding time, growth weight, to environmental temperature. This is a modern agricultural model, combining technology and local experience, producing hundreds of thousands of mice per month while ensuring safety, cleanliness, and sustainability. In Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, rats are a delicacy. High-end restaurants in Bangkok and Chiang Mai are willing to pay a lot of money to have clean rats with food safety certification. In addition, snake farms, owl farms, dragonfish farms all need a large amount of live or frozen rats every month. This is a stable market and is growing rapidly thanks to the exotic pet raising movement. A small part of the farm's rats are provided to medical facilities, labs, and universities for use as laboratory rats serving medicine, drug, and vaccine research. However, the development of the rat farming industry has not been entirely smooth. Many people still hold the prejudice that rats are dirty, carry diseases, and should not be eaten. To change this perception, farms must demonstrate clean breeding processes, strict disease management, and ensure food hygiene. In addition, they also have to lobby local authorities for licensing, legal support, and communications so that the model can be replicated in an official manner. Not only in Thailand, the rat farming model is also developed in other Southeast Asian countries such as Cambodia and Laos. In Cambodia, some farmers in Battambang province have switched from raising pigs and cows to raising rats because of lower costs and faster capital turnover. Can you imagine? Giant mud crabs, used to living in coastal swamps, where the soil is flooded with salt and brackish water, are now being raised in plastic boxes. That's right, not in ponds, not in the sea, but in rectangular plastic boxes, less than a square meter wide, stacked on top of each other like in a modern factory. At first glance, this model does not sound very promising. But in fact, this is the aquaculture revolution that is exploding across Southeast Asia, especially in countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand. This model not only helps increase productivity, save costs, but also brings farmers closer to technology and high-end export markets. Is this true or not? Please join me in exploring it in the following video. Mud crabs are one of the most valuable seafood species in Asia today. They can weigh up to 1.5-2 kilograms each, have thick meat and lots of roe, very popular in high-end restaurants in China, Korea, and Japan. Each kilogram of mud crab costs from $15-30 USD, while special crabs can reach $35-40 USD kg in the export market. An adult crab can be sold for $25-60 US each depending on size and male-female. Because of such high value, the mud crab farming model is always attractive to coastal people. However, crab farming is not easy. traditional farming in ponds or mangrove forests requires large areas, requires a lot of effort and faces many risks. Changing salinity, heavy rains, high tides, or sudden diseases can wipe out the whole crop. Since around 2018, some farmers in Southeast Asia have invented a completely new way of farming crabs, raising mud crabs in separate plastic boxes. Initially, this model was met with skepticism, but after a few successful cases, it proved its breakthrough potential and was quickly replicated. Interestingly, mud crabs do not need to swim much. They are solitary creatures, often digging holes and lying still in moist mud. Therefore, when placed in separate boxes, with water, mud, and ventilated lids, they still grow well, even reducing the mortality rate due to fighting or territorial disputes. Each box is about 40 by 60 by 30 centimeters in size, containing a thin layer of mud and about 5–10 centimeters of salt water, with a salinity maintained at 15–25 parts per thousand. Each box only holds one crab, and the boxes are arranged in rows or stacked on shelves in greenhouses or workshops. A small model with an area of about 500 square meters can contain up to 3,000 boxes, equivalent to the productivity of 5–7 hectares of traditional ponds. It is undeniable that raising crabs in plastic boxes brings many outstanding advantages. Saving space. From a small area of land, farmers can achieve productivity many times higher than traditional pond farming. Strict control. Each crab is monitored separately, easy to detect diseases, easy to intervene, easy to monitor the molting process. Reducing loss rate. No more crabs fighting and eating each other. This is the biggest reason why the mortality rate in traditional ponds is as high as 30 to 40%. Flexible year-round harvesting, not dependent on the season or harsh natural conditions. However, this model also has certain challenges. High initial investment cost. To set up a model of about 1,000 boxes, it requires capital of about $2,000 to $6,000, including the cost of buying boxes, water filtration system, oxygen generation, and building a net house. High technical requirements. Farmers must be knowledgeable about salinity, temperature, water pH, nutrition, because even small deviations can cause crabs to grow slowly or die en masse. Time-consuming care. Without an automated system, water changes, feeding, molting monitoring must be done manually. However, with profits of up to 300–500 USD superscript 2 per year, this model is still very attractive, especially for young, knowledgeable farmers who are ready to access technology. Today, the model of raising mud crabs in plastic boxes is being encouraged to expand in many localities. Not only in Vietnam, but also in countries such as Indonesia, the Philippines, Thailand and India, they are racing to replicate this high-tech model. Some large enterprises in the agricultural sector such as CP, green feed, or aquaculture technology startups have begun to invest in the crab factory model in the direction of automation, feeding robots, monitoring sensors, and online sales to domestic and international restaurants. In particular, this model is also expected to be a solution for barren lands, saline-intruded lands that cannot be cultivated, but can still raise crabs in boxes with artificial seawater, helping to create sustainable income for thousands of households. Korea, a country with mainly mountainous terrain, harsh climate, and limited agricultural land area, seems to have difficulty in developing agriculture. However, it is these unfavorable natural conditions that are the driving force for this country to grow strongly by applying high technology to agricultural production. One of the typical examples of this innovation is the air-house greenhouse model, which is creating a green revolution in modern agriculture in Korea. Unlike traditional greenhouses that are simply places to shelter from the rain and sun, airhouse is a combination of the most modern technologies, helping plants grow optimally in absolutely controlled environmental conditions. This is a combination of artificial intelligence, big data, environmental sensor systems, hydroponic aeroponic systems, and smart automation devices. Airhouse is no longer a simple greenhouse, but rather a living biological laboratory where plants are cared for with data, technology, and precise cultivation strategies down to the centimeter. Technically, the airhouse greenhouse is designed with a dense sensor system capable of measuring and monitoring almost all environmental factors, from air temperature, humidity, CO2 concentration, light intensity, to soil quality and plant growth status. All data is collected and sent to the automatic control center. Here, AI algorithms will analyze and give immediate adjustment instructions, such as turning on off the ventilation system, adjusting the misting machine, controlling the lighting system or adding CO2 for better photosynthesis. Another highlight of the airhouse system is the smart irrigation and fertilization technology. Instead of watering the entire garden in the traditional way, each plant is identified and provided with the exact amount of water and nutrients according to each growth stage. Advanced airhouses also apply a circulating hydroponic model, which helps reuse water after filtration, saving up to 80% of water compared to traditional farming. This system is not only cost-effective but also environmentally friendly, helping to minimize pollution and risks to the soil. In particular, some airhouse greenhouses are equipped with artificial lighting systems using specialized LED lights that can simulate sunlight according to the appropriate spectrum for each type of plant. Thanks to that, plants such as strawberries, tomatoes, and lettuce can flexibly adjust their flowering and fruiting times, shortening the growth cycle and significantly increasing productivity. Plants can wake up according to the biological rhythm set by humans, no longer completely dependent on nature. The effectiveness of the airhouse model is clearly demonstrated through specific numbers. According to the Korea Agricultural Research Institute, the yield of tomatoes grown in airhouse greenhouses can reach 40-50 kilograms m superscript 2 year, nearly 5 times higher than outdoor cultivation. Water usage is reduced by 70-80%, and the rate of damaged plants is only less than 5%, while the traditional model records a plant death rate of up to 25-30%. In addition, because of the closed environmental conditions, pest invasion is almost non-existent, leading to almost no need for pesticides or chemicals. Not only bringing economic efficiency, the airhouse model also opens up a new future for farming. Farmers are no longer just doing heavy manual labor but have become technology operators, knowing how to read charts, analyze data, adjust processes, and even use AI software to forecast productivity. A 4.0 farmer in Gangwon-do shared that he only needs 2 people to operate a 1,000 square meters greenhouse, something that previously required dozens of people to manage. From a social and sustainable perspective, airhouse offers many valuable solutions. In the context of a rapidly growing global population and increasingly severe climate change, creating weather-independent farming models that can be built anywhere from deserts, mountains to rooftops of buildings is the key to ensuring food security in the future. Seoul and major cities such as Incheon and Busan have now begun testing the urban smart farm model airhouse farms in the heart of the city, providing clean vegetables for residents while improving air quality and landscape. However, for airhouse to be able to be replicated and popularized, there are still many challenges. The biggest obstacle is the high initial investment cost, ranging from $100,000 to $200,000 for each 1,000 square meters greenhouse. In addition, operators need to be properly trained in techniques and technology, which not all farmers are willing to adapt to. The dependence on stable power sources and internet connections is also a factor to consider when deploying in remote areas. Fortunately, the Korean government has strong support policies to encourage people to switch to this model, from equipment funding, tax breaks, to skills training programs for young farmers. Provinces such as Jeollanam-do, Gyeongsangnam-do, and Chungcheongbuk-do are gradually becoming the country's smart agricultural development centers, with hundreds of airhouse greenhouses already built. With this model, Korea is not only self-sufficient in food, but also aims to export agricultural knowledge, becoming a model for countries with difficult geographical conditions such as Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, or even Middle Eastern countries. In the future, when technology becomes cheaper and more popular, we can completely hope that each city will have its own airhouse, where people can grow crops, study and enjoy a more sustainable life. You're probably familiar with modern, large-scale pig farms, where everything is controlled down to each square meter of pen space, right? But today, we're introducing a fascinating new approach, outdoor pig farming. Let's watch the video below to see how it compares to traditional indoor pig farming. What does an outdoor pig farm look like? As the pig industry faces growing challenges, environmental concerns, animal welfare, and stricter consumer demands, a quiet revolution is taking place: mobile pig farming. Unlike the cramped, antibiotic-heavy barns we're used to, this new model brings pigs back to nature, blending mobility and smart tech for a fresh leap in clean food production. For decades, industrial pig farming has dominated the global food scene. Thousands of pigs are raised in enclosed barns with strict controls on temperature, feed, and antibiotics to prevent disease and boost growth. But this model has major drawbacks. First, the environmental toll, especially methane emissions, contributes significantly to climate change. Then there's animal welfare. Pigs confined for life suffer from stress, limited movement, and higher disease risk. Lastly, consumer habits are shifting. Modern buyers, especially in big cities, now demand clean, antibiotic-free food with clear traceability and ethical standards. Facing this reality, the industry is seeking new paths built on sustainability and nature. And mobile pig farms are leading the way. One standout example is Folly Farms, a well-known outdoor pig farm in the UK. Instead of housing pigs indoors, they use mobile homes, small, movable pens. Each pig gets its own room on fields spanning dozens of hectares. This model blends outdoor farming with mobile infrastructure. Instead of fixed concrete barns, farmers use mobile shelters, often modified containers, truck beds, or modular pens on wheels, allowing rotation across fields and phases. First, they set up strong fencing to ensure safety while raising hundreds of pigs outdoors. Pigs roam freely on pasture, getting sun, air, and daily exercise. They root around, forage for worms, insects, grass, and roots, natural behaviors suppressed in confined systems. Pig waste spreads across the field, naturally enriching the soil and reducing pollution. This model not only supports the environment and animal welfare, it also produces clean, flavorful, antibiotic-free pork, which high-end markets crave. are moved to fresh grass using tractors, maintaining hygiene and preventing soil degradation. Pigs eat homegrown grains, vegetables, and whatever they find in the field. Notably, the entire process avoids antibiotics. Folly pork is now widely sold in Europe's premium supermarkets. Beyond clean standards, this model boosts local agricultural branding and product value. So, what are the real benefits of this unique system? It brings immense value to UK farmers, not just economically, but in animal welfare, sustainability, and meeting market demand. Free-range pork is prized for its quality. For eco-conscious consumers, it's the top choice. Farmers can sell pork at higher prices, boosting profits. Whether raised indoors or outdoors, pork remains a dietary staple, easy to cook, tasty, and rich in high-quality protein, vitamins, and essential minerals. A familiar and healthy food choice.